Welcome to the Diminutive Soldier. Diminutive because it's really small. Today we're looking at Thunder Road Vendetta. This is a game, original game from back in the day, in the 80s. I can remember this game from all the way back then. And Restoration Games has come out and restored it. They do what they do, and they restored this game and brought it back to its full glory. What I'm going to look at today and review for you and give an overview of gameplay is the base game. Now, this was a Kickstarter game, so there was a lot unlocked for it, a lot that backers for it have gotten that hasn't hit retail yet. This is just the base game, so that's all I'm reviewing, nothing else. So do take that in mind. So this is a game, it can be really quick, it's really bloody, it's really deadly, and it's full of luck. And what this game is all about is simply trying to get to the end of the track, trying to be the last car alive or get to the end of the track and win the race. This is like in a post-apocalyptic type world. And you're going to have a team of 3 cars. Let me grab them for you here. So let's see, white team. He's got his medium-sized car with little guns on it. He's got his large-sized car, little guns on it. And he's got a small car with a tiny little gun on it. And then you're going to have your little tiles for each card. Small, Doom Buggy, medium, Avenger, large, Eliminator. And then every player is going to have this card. And they're all the same for each player. These are your abilities you can do, which I'll get into in a minute. And so to set up the game, you're going to have your Chapter 1, it says up here. You're going to have your Chapter 1 board that you're going to put in place here. Chapter 2, Chapter 3. They are double-sided, so I just randomly pick a side to place down. And then there'll be markers where to put your hazard tokens. And the hazard tokens are supposed to be placed secretly, randomly. So just have your pile, shuffle them up, and place your hazard tokens. And then really you're ready to start to play the game. How you do it is for each player, you're going to have your dice. So let's say white player rolls their dice. And not a great roll. They get a 1, 2 2s, and a 3. Let's say blue player down here rolls his dice. He gets 2 5s, a 4, and a 3. Whoever rolled the least gets to go first. So white player can go first. White player can choose what they want to do. Your dice are your actions. That's how many actions you have. And so you can put a dice on a car, and the number value of the dice is how many spaces that car can move. Or once per round, and a round is all your vehicles going. So one vehicle will go, and then the next player goes as I go, you go. Then you have another one, the next player, another one, the next player. Well, once per entire round, you can use one of these special abilities over here. So let's say, just for an example, white player wants the medium car to go, and it can go 3 spaces. So it's going to start over here, and he's going to drive 1, 2, 3, and he'll stop there. When a vehicle is moving, you always have to move forward. Now, these spaces, the one directly in front of you and the ones to the side of it, are considered forward. So you can go diagonal, such as this. So let's say he moves up 3. One thing I did forget to mention, I apologize, there are a bunch of special dice that we'll get to soon. But this one, at the beginning of every round, you roll. And if your car moved fully, well, that's going to have a big effect. If your car fully moved on road, which is the gray, their entire movement, then they get this much extra movement that move. So they're moving on the road, they can go a little bit faster. So he has 3 more movement. So he can go 1, 2, 3, move all the way up there. That's great. Now the blue player goes. Let's say blue player wants to, I'm going to show you where you can shoot. Blue player he's going to move his medium 5, and he's going to get right behind that white one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If an enemy is in your front arc, and your front arc is yet again the space directly in front of you and the 2 to the side of that, that's your front arc, then you can shoot at it. And you roll a dice to shoot. Each car has their own symbol. There's the large cars, and that one's the easiest one to hit. Your medium car. This is medium and small. There is not a small on here. There's only one that's medium and small, but there is one for any. So you roll that dice. I'm looking for a medium or an any. Boom, I got an any. So blue car shot and damaged the white medium car. When you damage, you're going to have all these tokens that you're going to just shuffle up, randomize. These are your damage tokens. You just draw one of those, and it tells you what happens. So this medium one, let me move these for now, sorry. Because what you do is you place it under your vehicle, so the medium vehicle. This says he skids forward 1 space. Right now, that's not bad. It could have been into a hazard, and you flip it over and you see what's going to happen. But not too bad. So he skids forward 1 space, you turn this over, and he has 1 damage on him. If he gets another damage, the car is inoperable. Turn him around. You cannot activate him anymore unless you repair him, which I'll get to now to explain how that works. So now it goes back to the white player. He's going to decide what he wants to do, and he's going to look at what his choices are here. So you can activate 1 of these per round. On this one, for any dice, doesn't matter the number, you place it here, and you can do an airstrike where you call your helicopter in to attack. Pretty fun. This one, 1 to 3, so a dice number 1 to 3. Your card gains movement equal to whatever the number of the dice is you put down. Drift, dice 3 to 5. You ignore the first slam your car would have this turn. So if you run into another car, you slam them. We'll get to that in a minute. You can ignore that. And this one, you have to have a 6 is where you repair a car. You remove a damage token from a car. So if that car is inoperable, if it has 2 damage, you remove 1, then you can activate that car again. So let's say right now, let's move the large car twice. He's just going to go 1, 2. He can go up to 3. In fact, let's go ahead and slam him. I'll do that. And then, because he moved fully on a road, he has 3. I know I didn't do that with blue, but I'm just showing you how to play the game, so whatever. So he's going to go 1, 2, and slam the blue car. When you slam, the car that runs into it, you place on top. So I place him on top like that. And whenever you slam a car, you roll these 2 dice, the purple and red. The red one will show you if the bottom car or the top car is affected, and will show you what happens to it. The dark yellow is where you currently are, like this one he'd move back that way, this one would move forward, this one would move forward that direction, etc., etc. There's only one caveat to it. If your car's large, whatever car's larger can make the dice be re-rolled because they're a bigger car. They have a little harder to push around. So let's roll the dice and see what happens. This says the top car moves forward this way. So that'd be the white car. He may want to do that. But let's say he's really trying to knock that blue car into one of these hazards. He's going to, since he's larger, he's going to re-roll it 1 time. And it's going to be the top car. Moves back this way. So now you see how a hazard works. It's risky. He took the risk. Didn't pay off. It's mud. Not a big deal. All mud does is make it double your movement to enter a mud space. And there's mud spaces on the board as well. So no big deal. No real effect to him. But now white wants to use 1 more die for his once per round ability. He's going to call in his helicopter, call in an airstrike. And he's going to call it right behind this blue car. Yet again, you fire in your front arc. Helicopter is the same. So the helicopter is going right behind the blue car and gets to shoot at it, just like I explained earlier with shooting. So he's shooting, trying to get a medium or any, and he didn't. He got a large, so he missed. The only other thing the helicopter does is if any car ends its movement on the space with the helicopter, car is taken out of the game. It's gone. So the helicopter stays there right now and like a hazard. So you can use it to go in and shoot. You can also use it to create a hazard and cause more havoc on the board. So now it's blue player's turn. So blue player's going to be pretty aggressive. He's going to activate his large car and move forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slam into that white car. Now, that is a mud space, if you recall, and it costs 2 to get in it. But if it's your last point of movement, you don't have to pay the 2. So it only costs him 1 to get in it. Also, I wanted to clarify on the dice of extra movement, if you move all on the road, it's optional. If you decide to take that extra movement, you have to take the full amount, but you don't have to. So for instance, that blue car moved and shot, he didn't have to take that extra movement. He could have stopped there. So let's see if blue is able to push white into that helicopter and destroy him. This is top car, moves, would hit his friend. Oh, he has to do it. He's not larger than the other one. So top car here is going to, boom, crash into that one. Now you roll again. Now it's bottom car would move back this way. I think for them that's the safest bet. And so he will do it. He slammed him back in that direction. Now blue looks to see if he wants to call in a helicopter on white. And yep, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So he's going to call in a helicopter right behind white and shoot at it. And as you know, large cars are easier to hit. And he does. He gets an inning. He puts a damage on the large white car, which is skid forward 1. Not that big of a deal. Boom. And that flips over and a damage. He goes back to white player. All he has left is to move his small car 2 spaces. So he will go 1, 2. And since he's all on the road, he can go 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And he's going to stop right there. And blue car has his small dune buggy. He can move it up to 5 spaces, trying to avoid hazards. You know what? He's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slam into the white car. We roll the 2 dice again. See what happens. They're both the same size. There is no re-roll. Top, goes back here. So it was risky. It didn't pay off. He hits an oil slick. There's an oil slick. You roll this dice because you're spinning out of control and see where you go. Oil slick makes him move forward. God bless. So the oil slick is going to make him slide right back into that guy. Roll those dice again. The top car now flies back here. No damage taken. You don't take damage when you run into people, but just chaos ensues. And then at the end of the round, and that's the end of the round, everyone takes their dice back. They roll for their dice and to see what abilities they can activate or what movements they have. They both rolled a 6, so once per round you can use the 6 to repair if they desire to do so and try to repair one of their cars. And then you just keep driving. You keep going, and the chaos will ensue. I want to break down some of the hazards for you. That's another mud. Let's see. That's another oil slick. This one's just road, so it's nothing. Mud, oil slick. This is a wreck. If you get a wreck, then what you do is you put a wrecked car, just an old wrecked car from a previous race. Put a wrecked car down, and then if you were driving and you did that, you slam into the wrecked car and you roll just as if slamming into another car. There's another wreck. a road, a mine. You place a mine, you automatically take damage. You don't roll a dice, it's automatic. And that's all the types of hazard tokens. Now, damage tokens could be different. You've seen skid. In fact, they were both skids. There's also dazed. Dazed is pretty wild. So you roll this dice, which is called your stunt dice, to see how many spaces you move. So let's say this car right here was dazed. You're going to roll that stunt dice. 3 spaces. So for every space you move, you then roll this dice to see which way he goes. And anything you roll into, you have to deal with. So his first one, he'd go here. His second one, he'd go here. He got knocked all over the place. And then he'd go here. And if you ran into anything, you'd take that into effect. You get blast off. Blast off. You roll these 2 dice. See, it's that plus that. And it tells you the direction you go and how far you go in that direction. So this one, he'd go 3 spaces this way. Well, 1, 2, if you ever go off the board, you're eliminated. Completely out of the game. Take your card away. You're not coming back. There's also one called a dent, which has no effect. Here it is. It's just damage. And there's another one called shrapnel. And what shrapnel does is you roll the direction dice, like so. And the first car, if any, in that direction from where you're hit, will then also take damage. Shrapnel flies off your car and hits them. So you keep driving, you keep trying to live. You're probably not going to. And if you get to the end of the board, down here, and whenever a car is leaving this edge of the board, you get out the next chapter tile and you place it down like so, and put out the hazards, keep driving. But when you do so, the very first tile you remove. So as you expand, you remove the first tile, everything on it's gone. So any cars that might have been left on it, they're gone. If there was any inoperable cars you weren't able to repair, they're out of the game. And you keep driving till you place the last one, the 5th tile, and whoever gets to the end of that wins, or whoever is the last team standing, which to me is more likely, wins. So that's the basics of the game. I showed you what it's like with 2 teams. The game comes with 2 other teams, green and yellow, so you can play up to 4. And of course, the more you have, the more chaotic and more fun it is. So let's go down and I'll tell you what I think about it. This is very much a family game, a fun, chaotic, highly luck-based family game. Sure, there's some tactical decisions to make of where you're trying to move to. I'm going to try to hit them and see if I can knock them off the board this way. But it's purely luck-based. Roll the die. It can just be easily as you get knocked off or you going in another direction. That's happened many times, and it's funny. This game is meant to be funny and just a fun, silly game, and it's a family game. And it says it's ages 10 and up, 30 to 75 minutes. I think that's a good age range. My daughter's 10, loves this game, super easy to pick up. My son's also almost 7 years old, loves this game, is easy to pick up. Very simple game. Like I said, very luck-based. I'm going to score the game just based off the base game only. And I'm going to give it, for a family game, just a fun, silly family game, I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's a really good game, almost a great game. And I think from what I've gathered and what I've seen, I think the expansions bring that up a notch and bring that to the greatness level. There are expansions out there. There's an expansion that makes it an asymmetrical game where instead of everyone having the same same basic abilities. You actually have your own drivers, and they have their own abilities for each individual driver. There's an expansion that adds these semi trucks. There's expansion that has little motorcycles. There's all sorts of expansions. I'm not sure what they all do. There's a lot of expansions I think that really elevate the game. Base game I think is a solid, fun, high luck based game. 7.5. It's a good game. Good game restoration. Diminutive Soldier out.